All right, hello everyone. I will try this style of guide for today because, well, some of you have asked me about the 9.8 build, but also I didn't really have time to write a script and everything, so I will just do it casually. And yeah, I will first talk about the item builds and runes that the pro players are using. I have talked about these in a few videos already, but just to have everything in one place, I will first talk about a build that the pro players and the challenger players are using, and then I will talk about a very similar build, but a build that works way better in the lower elo brackets. So first of all, let's look at the starting items. You always start with the Doran's Blade and a health potion. You can get a refillable on a back if you cannot get a Vamp Scepter, just for the extra sustain in lane, and it also really depends on your lane opponents. If it's a heavy poke lane, then you might also want the refillable potion. But apart from that, it's always Doran's Blade and health potion, and in the early game, you tend to get long swords in your or on your backs plus whatever, plus the components. Well, basically, you always rush a Blade of the Ruined King, and these components is what you need. The most important being Vampiric Scepter, because that also gets one of your runes live, which is Overheal. I will talk about the runes in a second. Or actually, let's do this right now, because you need a very specific rune page if you want to play this kind of build. So let's just go with this. Okay, so the rune page you go for is this one. You go for press the attack because it's very easy to proc with Misfortune. By the way, it's always W max. You W max and then you Q max, then you E max. So with W max, press the attack is very easy to proc because it gives you a lot of attack speed, obviously. But also you can W, not without W, you can auto Q auto, then you also get the press the attack. And the Overheal will protect your W movement speed bonus because when the hit is absorbed by a shield, you still remain with the strut passive, which is quite noteworthy. And Alacrity for attack speed, obviously, coup de grace for more damage. These ones are really not that suitable for Misfortune. And this is one of the things in high elo which is quite common. You go for Magical Footwear and Biscuit Delivery, and the reason you do this is because games in that elo are typically already over at the 20-minute mark. And Biscuit Delivery increases your power in the lane phase. And the lane phase is very important in high elo, simply because you typically don't have to have a late game. And if the game goes to late game, it's pretty much already decided because one team has the upper hand, and through a clever macro play, they will close out the game without any counterplay from the enemy team. So this is why these runes are very important in the higher elo brackets. So if you are Diamond 1 or Master, Grandmaster, Challenger, then you can go for this rune page. And the shards are attack speed, adaptive force, and typically armor in the third row. If you are against the likes of Heimerdinger, Swain, bot lane, or, well, Heimerdinger, Swain probably not as much, but Heimerdinger, Fiddlesticks, Swain, Fiddlesticks, Swain, Lux, whatever, then you go for the magic resist, obviously. But this is your go-to page. So yeah, this is for the high elo, and the items you need are so many. All right, the items you need are typically, well, your core item is, as I've said, Blade of the Ruined King plus boots, and your boot choice really comes down to the enemy team comp. So you normally would like to go for the Berserker's Greaves. And you can do this in most games, but in some cases, well, Merc Treads are very niche. They don't really, you don't take them as commonly. You only really take Mercs when they have a full AP enemy team comp, or when they have like a Mumu jungle, Morgana support, and the other team members also have some important crowd control spells that you need to reduce. But you typically want Blade plus Berserker's Greaves, and if the enemy, however, have any type of AD champ that wants to dive the AD carry, so if they have a Zed that would fill this or meet these criteria, it's an AD champ and he can just one-shot it and dive the enemy AD carry. If they have a Zed, if they have a Kha'Zix, a Jarvan, a Hecarim, something that you just cannot run away from and that your team cannot really peel effectively, then you need the Ninja Tabi. This is the exception. So, but in every other case, you want the Berserker's Greaves. My breath. All right. I tried to finish this in a timely manner, but I still want to include everything. So this is your core item build, Blade of the Ruined King plus boots. And then if you have the rune page with the biscuits and the footwear, what you want to do is, because you are trying to finish the game early, right? You want to have lethality and also items that are good by themselves, that don't need any other items to function properly, such as crit items. They do need other items. If you go for a crit item, you also need Infinity Edge in order to really get the full potential out of it, right? But with lethality items, they are quite effective on their own, and always nice power spikes when you complete them, every single item. And also they synergize with the Blade of the Ruined King passive, because the unique passive that deals 8% of the target's current health as bonus physical damage is obviously physical damage, and physical damage is amplified by lethality. Well, to be precise, it's not amplified, but it's less mitigated, because it gets mitigated by armor and lethality gets around armor, but you know what I'm talking about. Lethality increases physical damage output, and Blade of the Ruined King passive is physical damage. And yeah, afterwards they go for Duskblade, and at this point the game is usually over. If it's not over, you are kind of in trouble, but it sometimes happens, and you need a plan for that as well. What you can do is you can double down on lethality and go for an Edge of Night or a Lord Dominic's Regards. If they have heavy tankers, then you want the Lord Dominic's Regards earlier. If they have, well, Leona or Malphite or anything that can interrupt your ulti point and click. So if you ult, right, you are channeling your ulti, so you cannot really move, you cannot dodge any skill shots. So you need the spell shield from Edge of Night in this case. But yeah, this could be a potential build. What you also can do is you can abandon the lethality the lethality ship you are on right now, and you can go for a fourth item rapid fire cannon and then final item Infinity Edge. This gives you a little bit better late game. The rapid fire cannon puts you in sort of a power trough, because this item by itself doesn't really increase your damage by that much, and it almost does nothing for your ulti. But yeah, this is also a possible option if the game goes longer, and if you went with what the pros are doing. Yeah, and well, you really only want this if you are sure that the game will finish early, because this really falls off because of the rune choices and the itemization. But what you can do is you can go for another build. It's quite similar, and it's very good if you are in, let's say, mid-diamond or below that. So if you're in Diamond 2 or Diamond 1, you might still go for this build probably. But if you're below that, you probably want to look at the following. So not those, no lethality here. Also not that, but what you want to do is, first of all, your rune page looks differently. You exchange Magical Footwear and Biscuit Delivery with Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. This does a couple things. So first of all, you will have less mana in the lane phase especially, and also you won't have the extra potions in the lane phase. So you need to play a little bit more carefully, and you cannot trade as aggressively. But on the upside, you get free AD from Absolute Focus right off the bat, and at the 10-minute mark, you already get 175 gold worth of stats from Gathering Storm, and at the 20-minute mark, these two together will be like 28 AD, which is almost 900 gold, or I think around 900 gold in stats for attack damage. And what this does is this feeds into your ultimate, so this allows you to go for crit items right off the bat when you finish your Blade of the Ruined King, because your ult will still do damage because of your runes. And where are they? So yeah, the items. And what this means is you still have the core of Blade of the Ruined King plus the boots. Nothing changes here, and you either go Zerkas, or against AD Assassins you go Ninja Tabi. Against full AP team you go Mercury Treads. And afterwards you have two options. First of all, you could go Rapid Fire Cannon, but I typically I would like to go for this. This might look goofy, but you need to keep in mind that all three bolts will apply the Blade of the Ruined King passive, and it also won't mess up your Laugh Tap or your Press the Attack or something, because that only applies on the main auto attack. The bolts do not trigger Press the Attack or Laugh Tap, so you are nothing changes there. You have immense wave clear, very nice movement speed, and also you are a lot more durable. Even though this is not a defensive item per se, the additional bolts also trigger lifesteal, which means that you will stay alive longer with the Blade of the Wind King. So in an ideal world, you can go Runaan's Hurricane and then Infinity Edge afterwards, and you do a lot with your auto attacks here. You only really press your ulti when they are out of auto range, or when you need to finish a low health target, or when you cannot auto, when you cannot move, then you ulti. Everything else is probably better with your auto attacks. But I was talking about an ideal world here, because most games will have an enemy dive champion, such as Evelynn, Diana, Hecarim, Jarvan. Almost like the criterion for the Ninja Tabi, right? If they have a champion that can dive you, it's way safer, especially in solo queue. It's way safer to just go Phantom Dancer as your crit item. It's a little bit less attack speed, more movement speed in combat, but most important part is the unique passive Lifeline, which will give you an additional shield and more time to lifesteal back up, and all in all, just a higher chance of surviving an enemy dive attempt. And after this, you just go Infinity Edge. So this is your core item build. Blade of the Wind King boots, Zeal item plus Infinity Edge. And afterwards, well, I need to add something. So if they have heavy healing champions, such as Dr. Mundo or Maokai, or even Akali or Olaf, or maybe even Jax, so anything that can just snowball a fight with healing effects. Also Darius comes to mind, Katarina. You want to have the Executioner's Calling right after the Blade of the Wind King, sometimes even before you finish Blade of the Wind King. You want to have this Executioner's Calling just sitting there, simply to stop these champions from popping off completely. And if you have this, then after your core item builds, you obviously upgrade to Mortal Reminder, because you are limited with item slots, right? You need to make the most of your item slots. So if you have an early Executioner's Calling, which is surprisingly often, you need this in a lot of games. Just need to pay attention to the enemy team comp. So everything that abuses Gunblade plus Ravenous Hunter, or Conqueror plus Triumph, or has innate healing in their kit, you need the Executioner's Calling. And after Infinity Edge, as I've said, you can finish Mortal Reminder, and then as a last item, you can get the Runaan's Hurricane, or if you had the Hurricane in the as your second completed item, you get a last item, Phantom Dancer. And yeah, this is pretty much it. This is the build you go for when you are below Diamond 3 or Diamond 2. So everything from Iron 4 to Diamond 4, it's pretty much, it's very safe to go with this item build, because games tend to go a little bit longer than in the high elo brackets. All right, so I've been rambling a lot now. I've not been talking about these. So especially there are niche cases when the enemy is full AD and have multiple dive champions. You also want to have a Guardian Angel maybe. Instead of this, you might go Guardian Angel after Infinity Edge, just for this extra bit of armor. And obviously also with the Phantom Dancer as your second item, or even with the Guardian Angel as the second item. Really depends on the enemy team comp. Sometimes you need these heavy defensive stats, else you won't be able to do anything. Same is true for AP team comps. Those are much rarer, but occasionally they might happen. You cannot get more of Memortius with Phantom Dancer. Maybe I should delete this, but sometimes, especially when they have the likes of Heimerdinger, Fiddlesticks, plus whatever, Diana, or if they have full AP, basically, you want to go for this, and also for these for your boots. So yeah, they have some options, some leeway, but those cases are kind of rare. So just stick to what I just told you, and I hope this isn't too long already. But this is just a quick overview for patch 9.8 for Misfortune in pretty much every elo bracket. Obviously, when you have full build, you want to get the Elixir of Wrath. When the enemy have Teemo, you want to have Oracle Lens. Any other case, you want to have Farsight Alteration from level 9. But yeah, okay, I think I've covered everything now. If I forgot something, then please leave me a comment and let me know. I will answer all of your questions if necessary. And yeah, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Stay tuned for that. Yeah, subscribe if you want to see it, and have a nice day. Bye.